Hey guys, Brian with Workshop Addict, and DEWALT has upgraded their FlexVolt Recip saw. So today we're going to talk about those upgrades, go over the specs, look at the outside of it, and then we're going to put some pressure on this saw and really show you guys what it'll do. DEWALT's new FlexVolt 60 volt brushless recip saw is model number DCS389, and it comes in a kit that ends in X1. The X1 gets you the 9.0 amp hour battery, the DEWALT charger, DCB 1106, and a bag. This model replaces the DCS388, and DEWALT claims that the new model is 19% more powerful than the old model with the 6.0 amp hour battery. So you're comparing the old model with the 6.0 amp hour battery, 18650 cells, to a new model, 9.0 amp hour battery, 21700 cells. Interesting way to look at it. So the power difference is probably not that much if you were to use the same batteries, but it's still significant with this upgraded motor. You have 0 to 300 strokes per minute with an excellent variable speed trigger. This is not a safety up here, it is a trigger lock. So when that's pushed, you can put it in the bag, stow it around, and work. This does have a nice LED up top. The shoe in front is not adjustable. It will swivel to allow you to keep everything up against your workpiece. It does have an incredible 1.1 stroke length. The tool weight alone is 7.5 pounds. It's fairly heavy, but it does have a good rubber overmold grip surface. The blade lock is on the side, easy to get to. It is not a spring release, so you do have to pull that blade out. Overall, it's a great little unit. It needs to be big, it needs to be fairly heavy, because this guy's got some serious power. Since this tool is an upgraded tool and the durability is really been shown with the DCS388, my goal in this video is to really portray the power that can come across with this saw. My goal here is to kind of put this saw in some different situations that you might see in demo or construction, just to give you an idea of how much power the saw has and how it can kind of squeak in and out of different situations with that power. So I'm working on a 2x8 and I'm trying to cut it down to the right length so I can put on some clamps. The goal with the clamps is to show that this saw can get into a bind or cut right through that bind without really any big performance issues. In my experience with demo, it seems like you try to cut something and the building will move, a wall will move, or you'll cut the wrong way and all of a sudden your blade is pinched. I'm trying to simulate that with these clamps, and while I might not be able to get the exact same force, there is no doubt that there is some pinching going on here, as I can't remove the blade all the time from these dual clamps that are here pinching the blade. You can see the smoke coming through, and even at this point, looking at the blades, there are some serious hot spots on the top away from the cutting edge, saying that there is some significant pinching happening. And this saw is just cutting right through it like it doesn't even know that there's a blade there. I am putting the saw in some weird situations or weird angles, trying to keep the blade away from the clamps. So if something looks funny and you're like, why is he moving that saw in that direction? It's not trying to get away from the clamping pressure. It's trying to get the blade away from the clamp. The next set of tests, I just wanted to cut some 6x6s and get an idea of how it's going to do with a little bit larger blade. In my head, I'm thinking I just need to get something that's going to just put a ton of pressure on this. So eventually, after a couple cuts, I just started to put as much pressure on it with my arm as I could to try to stop this or have it have a timeout with the brushless motor, either thermally inside the tool or in the battery. And I had zero luck with that. I could push and push and push with this, and there's really no stopping it. To try to make this a little more visual, I did my best to put all of my weight on top of the saw and just let it eat and see what happens. But the saw has enough power, at least from what I see. Now, when I go back and look at the footage and what you're looking at, you might see something different. The saw has enough power to physically bend the blade. That 1.5-inch stroke just ended up pushing the blade. The blade probably grabbed on the wood a little bit. The saw is pushing it forward. It just wouldn't go, so we ended up with a fairly bent blade out of that. That's just, to me, a ton of power. When the saw has everything it can do to push things forward, the blade won't go, so it's going to bend it. So we are at the limits, I guess, of what you would say the blades can take, and the saw is still right there, ready to rock and roll. I really like the DEWALT FlexVolt tools because even when they came out in 2016, they just rocked and rolled over everything else. They set the bar for what other companies needed to go after. There's always been some haters out there. Milwaukee's saying they can do it with 18 volts, and they started to catch up. DEWALT's now starting to say, hey, we can do the same thing, so they're pushing their new power detect line. There's some amazing tools coming out right now. There's some amazing technology coming out right now. And if you're in the market for it, this is the time to buy, because there are some seriously powerful tools happening. So if you have the DCS389, that's an awesome saw. If you're in the market for something new, check out the deals that might be out there on the 388, as it's going to be going away and replaced by this 389. The 9-amp-hour battery it's been great. As far as having a Recip saw and having one that doesn't chew up batteries, this has been a great combination. With all the testing I did and everything else that I worked on outside trying to bring into this video but wasn't able to, I still have a completely full battery. That's just great. So if you have any comments on your old DCS388 or this new DCS389, please leave them in the bottom. We always appreciate you guys giving us a thumbs up or a comment below. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, as always, have a great day.